What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Around the Flock. Thank you for joining us after the um, no episode of last week, but we're here to bring you some updates and news from around the Ravens flock. Uh, Listen, we all need to come to Jesus meeting after the whole past couple days, especially with the NFLPA report card that was just released recently. So let's just go through that real quick with the Baltimore Ravens team scores. If my computer will let me bring it up. And for the Baltimore Ravens, we are looking at get it pull. So for the Baltimore Ravens, we are looking at a total of for treatment of facilities or treatment of families, we're looking at a C plus. Nutrition is going to be a B minus. Weight room C plus. Oh, where'd it go? 1 second. Team. Let me scroll over a bit. And then the next category is going to be strength staff, and the Ravens got an F minus. We'll get into that here momentarily because that is a giant reason why everyone is going so nuts with a recent staff member firing. Training room is listed as a C. The training staff is listed as a B plus. And our last two categories going into, gonna scroll, the locker room and travel are both listed as A's. Now, overall, I would say give a C, maybe a D or a B to put it at the lowest. But the players put this together. And going forward, it is rough because we all know a certain member of the strength and conditioning staff has been a cancer within the locker room and not helping these players develop correctly, and why we saw so many injuries and illnesses go throughout the entire team. That would happen to be Mr. Steven Saunders. Now, as if you all have been watching this show for the past couple of years or a year, so on and so forth, you all should know by now that I have been a huge advocate of getting Steve Saunders out of this organization. He has been a the nucleus when it came to the COVID infection and COVID spread amongst the team. And we all see why so many players get hurt and leave and do 10 times better once they get to another strength and conditioning staff. Just like the whole situation with wide receivers and Greg Roman. There, lots of players have made or voiced their opinions now that this report card has come out, and it is not looking very good for our Ravens organization. Now, it's kind of hard because just the defend this because obviously we all know the Ravens are a great organization to play for and be a part of. But it seems like they've got to, or we all knew or just kind of put it to the side that they had a tendency of sweeping things under the rug. Um, Now, like, let's take example Quincy Adebo. Let me see. Or trying to find the tweet there by Quincy, and yeah. So, and also Carl Davis was also a victim of the strength coaches. Bam Bradley, uh, Rashad Bateman has been has been a little bit vocal in the whole situation as well, because he came out and made it clear that due to some of the injuries with the strength and conditioning coaches, that's why he wasn't able to properly heal and recover. Um, it's just sad. Hell, even Matthew Judon said he or tweeted out, been told to fire him. They all came out and just straight up said, "Hey, get rid of this guy. He's not good for our team." So it's awesome that they went ahead and got rid of that nucleus of bad vibes. Now, players have came out, or all these guys have basically came out and said the same thing. They love Harbs. They love the organization. They loved playing for Baltimore. But there's a common denominator when it comes to all that whole situation, and why a lot of these guys' careers were, as the quote Quincy, um, their careers were ruined. But let's just try to go move on a little bit further into it, since we've got that all out on the table. This is basically word for word from Ryan Mink's piece, or some word for words from Ryan Mink's piece on the Baltimore Ravens website. The Baltimore Ravens coordinators are now in place with Todd Monken's hiring, but there are still some moving pieces with assistants on offense and defense. Baltimore has openings at wide receiver coach, safety coach, and now outside linebackers coach, and could find roles for all other offensive coaches. Head coach John Harbaugh told the media Wednesday that outside linebackers coach Rob Leonard is leaving to become the defensive line coach at the Las Vegas Raiders. Safeties coach DeAnton Lynn recently accepted a job to be UCLA's defensive coordinator. And we all know that the Ravens promoted T. Martin to become their quarterbacks coach, and which has the opening for the wide receivers coach. So Keith Williams, who has spent the past 2 years as the team's pass game specialist, will be back in some capacity and is a candidate for the job, but he won't be the other one. Ryan also went ahead and notated Harbaugh, stating, "We're opening up, taking our time, just like we did with the OC position." We also know that Willie Taggart has been hired as the new running back coach, replacing coach Craig Versteg. Harbaugh said Versteg and James Urban, who has been the team's quarterback coach for the 5 seasons. Yeah, that was a little bit shocker right there, but because James Urban seems to be back in some sort of assistant staff position role, which wouldn't be a shock since he has worked with Lamar for time and time out. But having him replaced by T. Martin is just going to make things a lot better. Um, it's also notated here in the article that Harbaugh raved about Taggart, who has been a college head coach at Western Kentucky, South Florida, Oregon, Florida State and Florida Atlantic for the past 13 years collectively. He the total or the statement put out by Harbaugh was Willie Taggart is one of the best coaches in football, no doubt. He's a groundbreaking person, groundbreaking coach. He's a game-changing type of person to me. He's one of the great offensive mind in the game for sure. He's going to bring so much to our offense. Our players are going to love him. I know Todd already loves him. He's a difference maker. Harbaugh also said he's really excited about making Team Martin the team's quarterback coach. So in this entire article, it's basically running down Harbaugh's thoughts and notes. So we can all be excited for the changes that are coming to the offense. Obviously, we had a big change with the defense and the defense mentality, which Mike McDonald had rightfully earned his spot in Baltimore with the revamp of the defense, even though it was an oddball thing with the whole departure of Wink Martindale, but things happen, and Mikey Mack is just getting started. Now, having Todd Monken in here, I'm excited to see what this offense is going to do. It's going to be high powered, high flying, along with a clutch running game. So we'll see what happens. And for those of you who didn't already know, Scott Elliott is the one taking over for Steve Saunders. But he tried to hype up Steve a little bit, but I'm not buying into that bullshit. I'm sorry, I love Harps, but that is straight up bullshit. But the statement here for Scott Elliott is I'm excited for Scott Elliott, and that whole group gets an opportunity now to show what they can do. All the things we did in the injury front we did last year paid off this year. We had some injuries, but the soft tissue stuff was vastly improved, so I think we're heading in the right direction. Scott Elliott is, by what I'm hearing, is very well respected and liked along the staff and the players. So it's exciting to see what happens with that whole situation. And also going into the normal Lamar Jackson signing drama, it's hard to continue week in and week out to tell y'all that we have to play the waiting game. We have to breathe. We have to take a step back. We're probably not going to see anything happen until the franchise tag deadline or the league new year. And if anyone has paid attention to the press conferences from both the coach and or Coach Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta, they basically say that or said Lamar is going to be, or there is a high chance that Lamar is going to be back, and Eric is honoring a promise that he made to Lamar about not talking about specifics and details about contract negotiations to the media with Lamar. So as of right now, and I respect and I like the fact that the ESPN crew that's been covering the Lamar situation, but it seems like they're kind of in their heads as well. They're trying to put out content just like we are. But Miss Anderson, when you describe things at the Indian or at the NFL Combine during that video, the explanation was about as clear as mud. I don't mean to call you out like that, but you're kind of reiterating the contract details that was already placed in, or one of the offers from, what was it, last season, that somehow may have slipped through the cracks. I don't know. None of us know. And we probably won't, because unless Lamar himself or his friends that he talks to, or family that he talks to about this stuff, happens to leak it out. You see where we're at? I How many times do we have to have this discussion? We don't have to worry too much. Obviously, we all want to worry. We all want to cause some sort of commotion with Lamar Jackson, and whether he's going to be the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens or if he's going to be the quarterback for somewhere else. Right now, Atlanta fans are hoping that they get a shot at him. I love my Atlanta Falcons peeps, but all the indications from the Ravens, from Lamar's Instagram, from all these different tweets, they all indicate the same thing. Lamar is going to be back in Baltimore. So take a deep breath. Let's do it together. And just let's move on. Let's talk about who the Ravens are going to draft, who the Ravens are going to fill in some of these other roles. I wasn't necessarily dreading having this discussion with y'all, but as time kept going, let's just keep going on. And Josh, thank you for joining in. I really appreciate it. We're taking a deep breath together to know that Lamar is taking his time. EDC is honoring a promise to Lamar that he is not going to get any specific details about the contract situation. But obviously, the team is going to release the details as soon as they are allowed to make it public. All the social media, all the media team, so on and so forth, whether it's Cassie, Ryan, Garrett, and so on and so forth. These guys will have the opportunity to release the news as it comes. And I see your additional comment here. Lamar is getting franchised, then he is going to get hurt again. Uh, I don't know about all that, but well, as far as the getting hurt again part, but I believe that he will probably end up getting franchise tagged. And whether he plays on that tag or they come up with the long term deal, we'll see. We just have to play the waiting game. It's time in, time out. Now, as far as the NFL draft goes, obviously this entire weekend is, is we're watching these players give insight to what they can do on that field, or on the field, via the 40-yard dash, bench press, agility drills, and so on and so forth. But then, obviously, a lot of people with the combine are going to start picking out their draft crushes if they haven't already done so. Like me, for example, even though I only have one for sure draft crush, and I'll release that here in the weekly mock draft. Now, let's go ahead and get that going since we are, even though we're going to stick with our 30-minute episodes. So let's go ahead and get going on that. And Josh with another comment, I just hope you guys don't draft Addison and ruin the bromance with Kenny. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Let's go all 7 rounds. Enter draft. Start draft. So we got wide receiver, edge, and cornerback still as the main position of needs. So let's see what's in the best player available. For top 5, we got Cansey, defensive line, Pitt, Roderick Jones, tackle Georgia, Deontay Banks, cornerback Maryland, Andre Carter, edge Army, Dalton Kincaid, tight end, Nolan Smith, edge Georgia. Let's see. Let's go. I don't know who I should go with first. You know what? I'm going to take Deontay Banks out of Maryland. Let's see. I would think that Cansey was a workout warrior this weekend. I heard that from my group chat. Actually, it was kind of interesting to hear about, and everyone's so excited about it, and rightfully so. So we're at the next pick. We've got Nathaniel Dell, wide receiver, Houston. Carl Brooks, edge out of Bowling Green. Nick Herbig out of Wisconsin, edge. And Sam Laporta, tight end, Iowa. And Sidney Brown, safety, out of Illinois. There's also Hodges Tomlinson. We're going to go Nathaniel Dell out of Houston for our next pick. Let's see who we gonna get next. Okay, so we got Carl Brooks still on the board, edge out of Bowling Green. Michael Wilson out of Stanford. Dwayne McBride, UAB. Tank Bigsby, Auburn, and Moro Ojomo out of Texas. There's also Parker Washington out of Penn State. Oh. Let's see, we got a Josh again with if 48 overall is still there, definitely best player available. You know what? Let's go ahead and take it. It's not a bad pick, honestly. Just adds to that depth because we got to see what Justin Houston's going to do, especially since he was just on a 1-year deal. Let's see, next. Got Dwayne McBride, more Colby Wooden, Dorian Williams, Jacorian Bennett, Jacoby Turner. I think Huh. Let's see. Well, let's go ahead and rep the shirt that I've got. Nah, I'm not going to take the Purdue. I'm going to rep who I've got on currently. I've got on. We're going to take it linebacker Cam Jones. He is not my draft crush currently, but we're going to go. We'll take it with it. And no. So we got one more pick remaining. We just got to wait to get there. You know what's funny there, Josh, is he's still there. And you know what? Just because, and I'm not going to take anyone from that team up north, even though Ronnie Bell wasn't that bad. That's hard. Do I want to take Ronnie Bell or Jake Bobo? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. My wife's going to be not so happy with me on this one, but we're going to take Ronnie Bell out of Michigan. So, just got to wait for that to get done, and we'll go do a quick run through of our 2023 mock draft picks presented by Pro Football Focus. And they're currently drafting the grade. No, I don't want to subscribe. All right, so Deontay Banks gave us a B plus, Nathaniel Dell an A plus, Carl Brooks A plus, Cam Jones B, and Ronnie Bell A minus, with an overall grade of A. Got one cornerback, one wide receiver, or two wide receivers, an edge rusher, and a linebacker. So taking a little bit care of the defense while getting some more depth in the wide receiver room. Obviously, I do still believe in some pieces of the current wide receiver room in the Ravens organization, but it will take some time to revamp, especially since there were some outlying factors with injury. We just have to, hopefully, with the new strength and conditioning coaching staff, some of those injuries will start to go down. Now, we will be posting this both on my personal Facebook and our team or sub page over there on ATB Ravens. So let's go ahead and take a look at this again. Deontay Banks, Nathaniel Dell, Carl Brooks, Cam Jones, and Ronnie Bell. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and start our wrap up for the evening. As always, you know where to find me at the wrong side. It's going to be that handle right there on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at ATB Network. And don't forget to follow our Ravens specific over at Ravens_ATB. And if you are considering joining the crew, whether it be writing, podcasting, data stats, editing, and any behind the scenes stuff, please reach out to us, whether it be Messenger, through the DMs, and so on and so forth. We'll do everything we can to get you into a timely manner, but as we're all human, it may take some time to get back with you due to regular daytime jobs, sometimes nighttime jobs. But that's all we have for y'all this week. Thank you for joining in, and I hope you all have a fantastic evening.